What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode episode. Last time out, it was the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. It was a very good race, I would say, for me never racing there before. This is the first time I've properly driven on the circuit compared to all the other tracks in the game. But this time out, we got the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. So it's going to be probably a dull Grand Prix, I'd imagine. It's not... The dirty air effect here is just as bad as it is in real life, in game standards, I suppose. And yeah, I'm not expecting too good of a result if we don't get a good qualifying in place. But regardless of that, we are just cycling through all the menus here. We have a... chassis upgrade and a downforce upgrade that's still pending on the car. That's a drag upgrade. I believe the other one is a weight reduction upgrade, I imagine. We do have enough resource points to buy one more upgrade at 968. I think I was holding off last episode to get a major upgrade, but I'm not 100% sure if I bought another one here, because I'm just looking through, because you can buy... I can buy basically any upgrade that's not a major at this point. It's really just about what point in the car needs it. So I ended up buying the rear downforce upgrade, because our downforce section is pretty low on the car. We didn't really get too many upgrades for it, and as you saw, the drag reduction upgrade on the car managed to come through, so that'll give us a nice boost for Barcelona here. The straights are pretty short, so any increase in straight line speed we can get will help us overtake and defend positions in Catalunya. But anyway, we're gonna just jump into the race, head over to qualifying. Really, it doesn't matter how good we are in a straight line if we are having to overtake cars that we should normally get by in qualifying. So there's the purple car that we're going to be driving in. In the first lap here is... I don't think it goes too well. I honestly recorded this race basically a month ago, and I've been too busy with school to actually edit. But we first cross the line. It's P8. We're 6/10 down on P1, and as we fast forward here, you can see that Antoine Hubert is in 21st place. I will show you that we are not going to be. We're actually going to be behind him once he finishes this lap. He finishes with a 18.22, putting him in 15th place, and that puts me down to 18th place, or as somebody passed us and moved this time. But yeah, we're now down 20th place here at the end of Q1. We got 2 minutes left in the session. Managed to get by the McLaren there without him interrupting my lap time, but as you can see, we are already a 10th down, which is not good because we need to get up to P16 to even make it through to Q2. And you'll see that we will start to gain a little bit of time back. We're now down to basically on par with the old lap, and we are going to gain a lot of time coming out of that left-hander, but not enough, unfortunately. We're only a 10th up. We're just hovering. We actually, I think I managed to lose the back end there at that corner, and that's why you saw my time go from nothing to a negative 4/10 improvement. But this last section, Sector 3 here, is probably one of my worst sectors in the entire F1 game. This turn right here in particular is really bad for me. In the older games, I used to brake at the end of the curb, but now that curb is extended out, so I don't know where the braking point is. But we do manage to improve on our old last lap time. We're just under 7/10 down. That's going to move us up into P16, but I don't expect that to get us through. And as you can see, we on our second lap, just off on the side, the lap wasn't going great, and then I lost the rear end and we went onto the grass. Just fast forwarding through it to get out of there because we didn't make it through to Q2, and neither did Antoine Hubert. But fortunately, we did beat our teammate by a tenth of a second. Maybe we should have been up in Q2, but this is a downforce heavy circuit, and our downforce isn't the greatest, as you saw in the R&D charts earlier in the video. But if anything, we'll hopefully do better in the race than we did in qualifying, because we got 8 positions to make up if we want to get points, or a single point at least.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness, and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Perez, Sainz, Ocon, and Lance Stroll, Norris, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat, and Leclerc, Gasly, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Bird, Hubert, Russell, Latifi, and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are on the grid in Barcelona. Since we didn't make it into Q1, let alone Q2, we are going to get a free choice tire to start our race on. So that at least gives us an advantage compared to anybody who made it into the top 10. Here's me just playing around with the tire strategy, if I can talk properly. But unlike the people who are starting in the top 10 who are going to be on softs to start the race, they're going to have to make 2 stops. We are going to be able to make a 1-stop work here with a medium to hard tire compound strategy. I was looking at the hard to medium, but I decided to just go with the medium to hard because I was hoping I'd be able to overtake and I wouldn't fall backwards if I was on the hard tire. But anyway, 5 red lights. And away we go. It was a long hold there, and we are not going to get the greatest of starts. You can see Hubert and Latifi fly by me. I am holding the inside line, blocking off Romain Grosjean or Russell from going by me. We're just going to dive up the inside here. We didn't really get many positions out of that. We actually don't get any positions, as we are still behind Hubert and Latifi, 2 people we qualified ahead of. And we're going to try to make a move on Latifi here, but it was just a little too risky, and Latifi swipes across to cover us off. But going up the inside at the left-hander, I believe this is turn 5? No, 100% sure, but we are going to make the move stick, and now we are side by side with Hubert, and we are just going to make our way by him just barely, and we are back up to where we started. So not a great start because we had to fight with people who overtook us, and now we are up to where we started at least, and we are going to try to make a move around Magnussen here. Going to squeeze him out on the exit. We did make contact with Giovinazzi there, but luckily no front wing damage. That's the important part. And we are at 1 position. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, though, if we want to get any points in this race. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race, but that's to be expected. He did start from pole position, and that's the end of the first lap. And as you'll see, there's no DRS yet, but Kevin Magnussen is going to come at us. He's going to go down the inside at turn 1, and we are just going to swing around the outside and luckily hold position.
To manage this, we'll need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
So as you heard from Jeff there, we have a lot of wear on our engine components, and I'll explain that. When I went into qualifying, I forgot to change the MGU H in K, I think, going into the session, and little did I know that F1 2020 is the first game that actually enforces the Parc Fermé rules, that you can't change the engine components without getting a grid penalty. So I didn't change those because they weren't high enough that I needed to take a penalty, but we are going to be a little bit down on ERS power going through the race here. And as you saw, we couldn't catch up to Giovinazzi even with DRS and overtake mode. We had to wait a whole nother lap to make a move, but we make a fatal error there. Well, not fatal, we were still in the race. We made a big error there. As I said earlier, that's probably my weakest corner on the track, aside from the left-right chicane at the end of the lap. But that mistake puts Kevin Magnussen back in reach to try to make a move. He's going to go up the inside again. We're just going to brake later, swing around the outside, squeeze Magnussen to the apex, and we'll keep our P17 for now. But we are burning a lot of ERS energy power, and lap 7 now, we're going to make the same mistake again, run wide at the right-hander, and that's gonna screw me over at the chicane because I'm not going to be able to use the full width of the road. And now I'm just going to leave the engine off. I'm going to move to the inside. We're going to let Magnussen by because I want to save up ERS, and he's been hounding me all of the race so far. Vettel's also by because he pitted for mediums from soft, since he was one of the people in the top 10 who had to start on the soft tires. But as you can see later in the lap, we're still on lap 8. Vettel's going to make a move on Magnussen, and I was kind of hoping that Vettel would make a move on Magnussen so I could try to get back by him, but unfortunately it was just in a bad spot, and I was not able to take advantage of how slow they were both going through the turn. And we're in P13 right now, but like I said, the two stoppers are still behind us. They're trying to make their way through the traffic. Bit of a rear end loss there going over the curb, and unfortunately, while we have DRS here, we are way too far behind Kevin Magnussen to make a move on him. So we're just gonna have to sit and hold our hands in our lap while we wait to get an opportunity. And unfortunately, lap 13 going on the 14 here, you can see that Kevin Magnussen has got away from me. Leclerc is coming out of the pit lane here, so that's not going to further complicate things. We barely managed to get around him, but he, with his fresh tires and a Ferrari car that's not been reduced in performance, is going to just shove his way by. And as you saw, we made contact on the wheels, but we're going to lose a lot of time there. Now we're 2.2 seconds behind Magnussen, so any hope of catching up, getting into the DRS zone, DRS detection range, is going to just slip away here, especially now that we are going to be pitting. We are pitting this lap for the hard tires. There's no point in waiting. It's not like we're stuck in traffic, and you can tell our pace hasn't been the greatest since we just got completely demolished by Leclerc. We didn't even put up a fight, but we'll have to see where we come out of in the train of cars now. You can see a whole lot of cars going by. Those were mostly medium runners that have yet to pit. and hopefully we can get it undercut here to try
That
to
was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
overtake Kevin Magnussen again through the pit stop phases, because we're going to have at least one lap of hard tires, and at the very least hopefully we'll be able to be right behind him. But lap 16 now, we pitted on lap 14 going on the 15th, so this is 2 laps later now, and you can see that Kevin Magnussen is behind us again, so we managed to overtake him through the pits. And unfortunately for us,
This engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mix too soon.
if Jeff would stop talking, unfortunately for us, we have no one in front of us to use DRS off of, so we have to burn a lot of energy to hold position. And you can see Magnussen's not giving up without a fight. We used to be able to hold him around the outside at turn 1, but he put up a lot more of a fight there, and we had to go through 3 turns before we were able to shake him off. But that doesn't mean that this battle is over, because he is still right behind us, half second behind us. We locked up going to the chicane, so we went in really deep, got a poor exit, and Kevin Magnussen is already side by side with us before he even opens DRS, and he's just gonna get by. I'm not even using overtake. There's no point in wasting it. Lap 22 now. You can see Kevin Magnussen just drove away from us. Simple as that. I could not keep up. I don't know what happened. We were keeping pace for the most part on medium tires, but on hard tires, not the same story. Another lockup going into that final chicane. One of the worst turns on the whole calendar, I have to imagine. But Alexander Albon, right behind Albon. I don't know what I'm saying. I can't say his name right. Albon. He's right alongside of us. We're gonna go to the outside just like we were doing with Magnussen, and we managed to hold position.
Green flag.
We are in P13 right now, so unfortunately no points, and it seems we're only going to go backwards in this race. Ricciardo and Albon's on hard tires, but with a faster Red Bull car. Ricciardo's on faster medium compound tires. Albon going to the outside at the hairpin. Is he going to manage to squeeze by? He's just going to get a much better exit. We were on the curb, and he's going to slip by. We're going to go to the P14 here. And this is where the dominoes start to fall. You can see on the mini-map there's a big train forming behind us. We were the bottleneck, so to speak. And another terrible chicane. Ricciardo right behind us. Sainz right behind him. I'm going to burn overtake it while I can, but I only have 20% left, so we can't use it all. Ricciardo flies by. Sainz almost drives into the back of me. I left him plenty of space on the left and the right, just kind of weirdly parked my car in the middle though, but he had space to go around. He had the lift off, but he still managed to get by me. Unfortunate, so that's us down 2 places, and we're just gonna run wide there from the dirty air, and Sergio Perez is also gonna push by, and that's us all the way down to P17. And I wouldn't put it past Esteban Ocon to get by me as well. He is all over the back of me. Rear end loss, bit of oversteer, and that puts Ocon on the back of me, and I think we're gonna be dropped by the train of cars in front. Big lock up into the chicane. Tire wear has not been the greatest, as you might have been able to guess. Getting onto the curb there, had the counter steer, and Ocon's going to try to squeeze by. I wasn't expecting that, so I kind of made contact with him. A big lock up into the chicane. So slow through there. And out of DRS range of the train in front. They dropped us by 3 seconds, basically. Here comes Esteban Ocon. Down the inside, he's going to get cleanly by me. And unfortunately, we're down to where we started in this race, P18. And I think, fortunately for us, the cars behind Latifi and Russell are so far back that they have no chance of catching up. But 3 cars that do have a chance of catching up are the Mercedes.
Looks like they're retiring.
The Mercedes and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, as you can see, we're being lapped by them. We will gain a position though, because Charles Leclerc is retiring from the race, as you saw. We're just going to let Bottas by, who's leading this race.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
And you see there was Charles Leclerc on the side of the road. Don't know why there wasn't
Let them past when you can.
Don't know why there wasn't a virtual safety car, but we're going to let Hamilton and Max go by, just so we lose as little time as possible. I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to stick behind them, stay with them using DRS, but unfortunately we were not able to. Valtteri Bottas wins the Spanish Grand Prix. In us being lapped, we're going to come home to P17. We gained 1 place technically, but still very disappointing.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So, a very disappointing Spanish Grand Prix. I was kind of expecting that with the low chassis and especially downforce development on our car compared to the rest of the field. You can see Hubert finishes all the way down in P20, getting beat by both of the Williams cars. And last, not counting anybody who DNF'd. So, very disappointing for the team, but as a new team, you kind of gotta expect some bad results in the first season. We've had a string of good results, getting into the points multiple times, but a good team isn't without its downfalls, and right now ours is high downforce circuits like Spain. But as you can see, we maintain P12 in the driver standings, right behind and tied with Carlos Sainz of the McLaren. But Lance Stroll moves up P13, so he could be catching up to us. And Antoine Hubert still is yet to score any points yet this season, but remains on top of all those who haven't scored points. So I think he's doing the best he can without having scored any points. But hopefully, as the car progresses, he'll get there. We, as a team, ABR F1 team, move down to P9 as AlphaTauri, get us by 1 point. But as I said, the season is long. This is only round 6, so hopefully by the end of the season we could be scoring points every race and not finishing down in P17 like we are now. You can see we're tied with our rival Antonio Giovinazzi. He caught up to us that round since our poor result. Hopefully we almost got the level 8 on the Acclaim, but unfortunately, since we did not get top 12, we don't get our money from our paint sponsorship, so that's gonna be a little disappointing. But we do have $2.92 million in cash to spend, so that's going to be enough to upgrade a facility, but we'll get to that. But first, we have 1,100 resource points to spend. Unfortunately, you saw the weight reduction upgrade has failed, so we have to rebuy that. I don't know, that's going to come in on the 25th. I don't know if that's before or after the next Grand Prix, but that's going to leave us with not enough points to spend on any major upgrades, which is unfortunate. We don't have enough department capacity to spend on that chassis upgrade. And we only have majors available on Downforce. So there's only two things we can buy here: is an energy recovery system upgrade or engine power. So I think I'm going to go with that. Just pure engine power, still mid-pack with that Renault engine. We don't really need to buy durability quite yet. And it's really about just gaining performance. But good news, we don't have to take a grid penalty on the gearbox because we managed to get it through all 6 races. Only 66% on durability. You can see that the ICE and the turbocharger and especially the MGUH are all like completely worn out. So I'll have to make sure that I actually change them going into qualifying for the next race, because we don't want to be using old parts going into Monaco, especially because that's the next race. But $2.92 million, as I said, we do have enough to spend on a facility upgrade here. I'm gonna buy this for $2.5 million fabrication capacity, department capacity upgrade. I'll just say that. So now we'll be able to spend or have at least 2 upgrades going at the same time in the chassis department. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, if you liked the video, make sure you like it. And if you want to see the rest of the season and more videos I do, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm hopefully going to start making videos more consistently. And next time out is the Monaco Grand Prix upgrade. So hopefully we can have a much more satisfying performance than we did here at Barcelona. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.